So far, we have added 4 feature layers to our ArcGIS Online hosted feature service using the ArcGIS API for Python. In this video, we are going to add 2 tables. So open up the addtables.py script from the Add Layers and Tables folder. We are going to use the Feature Layer Collection Manager add to definition method to add 2 tables to our hosted feature service in ArcGIS Online. Up top, we are importing the GIS class and the Feature Layer Collection class. First port of call is to access ArcGIS Online using the GIS class, and we'll assign our GIS object to a variable called AGOL. We're going to create 2 table definition dictionaries, and both are going to be quite similar. For our first table definition, I've commented out the ID. I'm going to show you that ArcGIS Online will take care of ID assignment if we do not add it to the definition. This time the type is table. The name here is going to be Table for Training with FDM 1-to-1 with a description of user created table for 1-to-1 relationship. We're adding 2 fields to this first table. The fields property is a list of dictionaries where each dictionary represents the properties for a field in the table. We are using object ID as our OID field. That is a type of Esri field type OID. We're going to add in 1 text field with a length of 50 called park name. Just like with our feature layers, we are using indexes and we need to create a primary key index. The index's property is also a list, and each index is a dictionary within that list. Here we give the index a name. The fields we're using is just the object ID, and the description needs to be clustered, unique and primary key. We set the object ID field to be object ID, and we set the unique field property to be a dictionary where the name is object ID and is system maintained is true. So ArcGIS Online will take care of the OID field on our behalf. For the second table definition, once more we are going to comment out the ID and allow ArcGIS Online to handle that. Type is table once more. Name is Table for Training with FDM 1-to-many. And description is user created table for 1-to-many relationship. Once again, we're creating 2 fields. We have our object ID field and a text field with a length of 50 and a name of view name. We add in our primary key index just like the table above, and we also set the object ID field to object ID and the unique ID field with a name of object ID and is system maintained to true. Now we want to set about adding these 2 tables to our feature service. We use our GIS object and the content manager get method supplying in our feature service item ID, which I'll paste in now for my notepad. The get method will return an item object that will assign to a variable called item. We're then going to turn that item into a feature layer collection object using the feature layer collection from item method supplying in our item, and we'll assign our feature layer collection object to a variable called FLC. I'm going to create a variable called status, and I'll set that to equal our feature layer collection object. And we're using the manager property, which is the feature layer collection manager object, and the add to definition method. Here we will set our JSON dict parameter to equal an empty dictionary. This time we are not looking at adding a layer. We are going to add a table, so we are focusing on the table's property. The table's property is also a list, and we're going to insert both our table definitions above into this list, so table definition 1 and table definition 2. I'll then print status to screen, and we should see that both tables have been added to our feature service. So I'll run this script. We see our script is complete and we got success true, and in the layers property of the success message we see both tables have successfully been created, one with an ID of 4 and the other with an ID of 5. I'm going to head over to ArcGIS Online and check out the result. Before refreshing the feature service item homepage, you can see there are 4 layers here, but we don't have any tables as of yet. But when I refresh, those 2 tables that we added with the ArcGIS API for Python will show up. So I'll refresh now. We can see we now have a table section with both our tables in there, and we can see that is sublayer ID4 and the one-to-many is sublayer ID 5. I'll just click into the first table here. We can see our summary and acknowledgements is empty, but our description came from our table definition. Enable attachments is disabled by default. I click into data. We have our park name text field. I go to column visibility. We'll have our object ID, but we've no data yet in this table. We have successfully used the ArcGIS API for Python to add 2 tables to our hosted feature service in ArcGIS Online. Make sure to continue on to the next video in this series, and also make sure to subscribe. Take care.